Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Hako episode number 25 reaction. This is the final episode of this season. So the previous episode, it was very I don't know. It was a very hard episode, like a very sad, you could say, episode. Basically, we had Daiki give an answer to Hina's confession, and Hina obviously wanted to keep the whole thing going, but Taiki, obviously we know Taiki is very sincere, and he says, like, with this whole confession just hanging around, he first and foremost he cannot be like more like, what's that word, he cannot truly go and pursue, like, his feelings for Chinatsu, because he feels guilty. Also, he feels that keeping this whole answer just dangling makes Hina sad as well as a result. So he says that I cannot let this go on. So he like rejects her. Yeah, and obviously this whole thing kind of happened because I made like Taiki and Hina go to the same place at that time, particular moment, and Hina just stumbled upon that question. Like, he at first she didn't have any type of intention to talk about the confession, but once she did, she realized how she messed up, and Taiki brought that whole thing up. That's why. So all in all, it was like a few circumstances filing on top of each other, coinciding. That's why that whole thing happened. But at the end of the day, yeah, I guess Taiki, uh, like Taiki's sincerity made him, like, give her an answer, even though she didn't want any answer at the time. She just wanted this to keep going up until Taiki himself, either starts liking her, or like, yeah. Anyways, I guess that's done. What can you, like, we know this, we knew this day is going to come, but I just didn't expect it to be this quick. Yeah, and that's where it kind of ended. So let's see what happens. I do hope that Taiki, as he said, that he is not being able to like sincerely pursue his feelings for Chinatsu. Because of that, I do hope now that he has rejected Hina, now he sincerely, like, does it instead of just sitting around doing nothing. Yeah, I just want to see him keep his word, and at least. Otherwise, I don't know, it'll just be bad. Like, if he still goes back to the same old, like, oh, I'm not going to take any action kind of thing. Nah. Anyways, let's begin. Let's see what happens today. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it whichever is your preference, and let's get started. Okay, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Hmm. Nah, it was bound to happen eventually. Sure. Yeah, that's also true. What is that? Are those tissues? Yeah. Mm. Oh, damn. Who knows? Maybe. But no, I guess they kind of explained that. Yeah, that they're the ones who dumped her in the end, right? Because she's a lot more, like she's the only one who ends up receiving the love, doesn't give anything back. Damn. Hmm. Oh, we're going back. Oh, well. You're probably, maybe not. I was gonna say maybe he. No, that's how I guess you practice on your own. Hmm. Oh, whoa, what the? What happened there? Oh, I was like, what happened? How did the shuttlecock suddenly go up? Will you finally play against me now? Oh, he will. Yep. Oh my god. Eh. Right. Why is she holding her hair? Oh, here we go. Alright. Well, obviously, he would know. Right. Hmm. Wait, so he's losing. Well, but right. Hmm. They seemed closer when they were just friends. Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he missed again. Oh boy. He has improved. How do you has improved? He was going through his training arc. Right. Oh, you got one. Wait, no, it's out. Yeah. Well, you can practice more after you go back. Damn. Yeah, like like we kind of saw that. Hmm. 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 Well, I guess he's kind of comparing this to his whole Chinatsu, like the fact that he's still not being able to. Hmm. Oh, well, she asked him before, if you remember, and he said yes. So this time, he didn't think about that. They went in the beach as well, if you remember. Shopping. Mm. Mm. Next Saturday. Okay. Yeah, what is that? Will you? That's the question. Oh. You 'went to an arcade. 20%? Damn. Damn. Oh boy, these guys. Ugh. Yeah, what is this? What? Wow. Bro, mind your own business. Okay, what is going on here? Yeah. Damn. Oh, I hope they just come on, Taki, just go talk to her and at least like this whole situation is just yeah. Oof. Yeah, he understands. Not in that way, but you know. Okay, nah, I think I don't know. Oh, nah, it's fine. This time it's fine. Eh? Hey, yo, what is the sense in it? Hmm. Wow. Yeah, what is this training regime? I want to blow up this. Okay, stop. Mm. Oh, is it today? The Chinasu, like, the way he wouldn't be. Mm. Oh, there she is. She always does this. You've seen this before. Even in that night when she was in the car, she was just looking outside in the sky. Right. Okay, that was today's episode. Right. Okay, so obviously this is the end of this season. I do know season 2 has been announced. So, right. Okay, is that it? Oh, that is it. Okay, like I said, this is the end. Episode 25. I think season 2. I've heard that season 2 has been announced, or it's been, like announced that it's in production or something. Let me just double check. And I'm assuming it'll be sometime next year, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, second season. There you go. Also, I am assuming it will be another 24 episodes because I do know that the manga is quite ahead. So they have a lot of source material to adapt. Anyways, so yeah, that was the final episode of this season. Now, I have a few things to talk about in today's episode. First and foremost, Hina's whole situation. We saw what happened in the previous episode, and now Hina is obviously finding it a little bit difficult to go and talk to Taiki, and Taiki is feeling difficult to talk to Hina because he's like, I'm the one who rejected her, so I should give her a little bit of time. I don't have any right to go and talk to her currently. Yeah, so I can understand this obviously, but I do hope in the next season, at least like somewhere down the line, they talk and they resolve their situation and they, I don't know, become friends again. It'll be difficult, but I do hope that. And that's what Kyo was saying. Kyo was like, they were way better when they were friends with this whole thing, and now, yeah. Either way, I do think, like, like these two are not the type of people who will, I don't know, like be like this. Like, I'm sure down the line they'll just talk and resolve that situation, and everything will be okay. Hopefully. Right. Now, yeah, obviously that is the whole thing with Hina. Now, I have to talk about Ayame in today's episode. So basically, in today's episode, we get to see more of Ayame obviously being bewildered at the situation because she was not aware of a lot of the things. First and foremost, she had no idea that Taiki actually had someone she liked. That's number one. Number two, she has never seen someone wholeheartedly like someone. So that is why she felt that, oh, this is such a nice thing. Let me help her out. And she has also not seen or experienced someone getting genuinely rejected and genuinely taking it to heart, someone who genuinely likes someone. So this is also something that is very, I don't know, surprising to her. So she didn't really, like, she couldn't fathom why Taiki rejected her, and that's why she was like, yeah, since I haven't experienced it myself, it it's just something that, I don't know. I just never thought I would feel like this, something like this. Like basically, she's feeling Hina's feelings by proxy, like how you could say a lot of people like us who watch animes, we feel feelings from the characters by proxy. We put ourselves on the shoes of certain characters in certain situations, and that happens even more when you're like, these are like fictional characters, but if it's like some of your friend or something, you're talking to them, you know their situation, and they confide you about something, and then it doesn't go well. By proxy, you feel happy or sad on their behalf, and since this is something that she has never experienced, like, which is genuine love and true rejection, she feels it even more by seeing how the other person is feeling. Yeah, so obviously that is what IMA is going through. Now, I like that part where Kyo, there's one thing that Kyo said, which I wholeheartedly agree. Kyo said that I'm glad she has someone like you currently, because if you remember, there was an episode where Kyo told Hina that, oh, like, I can sympathize with you because I was on the same position that you are in currently. Yeah, there was a lot of difference, obviously, because Hina did confess, and like, but Kyo's situation, I'm assuming, was way more like one street, like, it was just one way down the road, because the other person just didn't really bother and just, I guess, like, went off with someone else. But Hina's situation is a little bit different, but still, he knows what it feels like, so he can sympathize with her, but he cannot support her because Taiki is his friend. So he will always be on Taiki's side. He said that before, if you remember. So now Kyo is saying, I'm glad that she has someone who is in the same position that I am with Taiki. And Ayame is that person. So, Ayame is the person, like just like how Kyo is with Taiki, whatever Taiki decides, Kyo has decided to, like, support that. Similar to that, I guess you could say Ayame has taken that spot for Hina, and she's that friend who will support her, or who will, I don't know, like, who will be like her ally, just like how Kyo is more of an ally to Taiki than anyone else. Like, Ayame will be someone like that, and Kyo is glad about that, because everyone needs someone like that, who can help in that way. You can say similarly, Chinatsu also has an ally like that, which is Karen. Karen is someone who is going to support Chinatsu, whatever Chinatsu wants, and whatever she wants to do with her life and all that, whatever decision she makes, Karen will support Chinatsu. Similarly, Kyo supports Taiki, and Hina was the only one who was missing someone like that. So it's a good, I guess you could say, I don't know, support to have someone like that with you who will be your ally, in situations like this. So that's what Kyo said, and I agree with that. And also, we saw today, we had the section where those guys came in front of Chinatsu, not Chinatsu, sorry, Ayame, and in the department store or whatever, and they were like saying stuff like that. Now I'm like, okay, bro, like, you obviously, like, she might have rejected you, or like, I don't know what happened. I'm guessing, like I said in that episode, that I'm is the type of person who just receives, because she hasn't truly fallen in love with someone. She's the one who just receives, and people giving the affection to her obviously expect something back, but when they don't get that, like, feelings back in return, they get fed up and they reject her and dump her, I guess. So that's what happens, and you can see that's probably something similar that happened here, but it is just, I don't know, this is just weird to just come in front of some random person and just say stuff like that to her in the middle of a public place. Like, it's just weird. Anyways, like he just came to her and just brought that up herself. He didn't even, like, he didn't even, like, she didn't even try to talk to him. He's the one who came, he started the conversation, and he's the one who brought the whole thing up. So that's why Hina said that I can understand what you're trying to do here. you are, where is that section? She said that you are, where is that part? Okay, here it is. If you seriously think that you're clearly blind, you're in the right, and the person who rejected you is the crazy one. If you tell yourself they made the mistake, then you won't have to feel hurt about all the time you thought they liked you back. Yeah, so basically being like, oh yeah, like since you got rejected or whatever, you're not together with that person. If you say that, oh yeah, that I was in the right, that person was in the wrong, then you can kind of, I don't know, like protect yourself. It's like a self-defense mechanism where you can be like, oh yeah, it was that person's fault, I wasn't at fault. So yeah, like all the everything that we did and everything that happened, she's the one who destroyed it. So you will be able to justify the time that was spent thinking about that person, or like, yeah, and you will be able to protect yourself from like, yeah, from that, and basically like a self-defense mechanism, as she said, which you can say that Hina was also thinking about that, and she was in a similar situation, I guess. So she was also, yeah, she kind of could say that. But anyways, like like I said, it's just wild to see that someone who just, like, I obviously what Hina said was spot on. That's probably what that guy was trying to do here, trying to justify and be like, oh yeah, there you go. Like, I'm not saying, like, this is the thing, like, yeah, maybe Ayame was clearly at fault here, you know whatever happened, because in that little flashback that we saw, it did seem like he genuinely wanted to go out with her, and I'm assuming he probably was just like, didn't reciprocate his feelings, and that's why in the end he felt that, oh, this is not going anywhere, I'm just one-sided, I'm just giving her everything, and she's just not really doing anything, and she's not really like like reciprocating it back. So you know the whole relationship didn't work, and now he's telling that, oh, it's all her fault, that's why yeah, everything is fine in my regard, and that's why he's doing all of this. Like, I can understand that, but at the same time, it's just not okay to come randomly in front of someone like that in a public space, just making everything public, that like that, and just saying stuff like this in front of a random ass stranger who is with that person. Like, what the hell is that? Like, that is outrageous. Anyways, so there you go. That section was just weird. Like, I was like, bro, what the hell are you doing? Just yeah. Okay, so right, and that was that. Now, like I said, IMS section today was very interesting. I don't know. I think that, like, just like you said, that she's very necessary here in this situation, because she can be that person to Hina who will be like her ally. Just like Chinatsu has an ally in Karen, Taiki has an ally in Kyo, Hina has an ally in Ayame. So Ayame is important in that regards. And in a way, you could say that being with Hina, Ayame can also probably understand, like, what, like, genuine feelings are. Like I said, by proxy, she could understand, she can feel the feelings of Hina. So this will probably, down the line, make her develop as a character as well, and make her understand what true affection and true feelings are, and what it you know yeah, what it seems like what it actually is. She has not known what true love is up until now, so but maybe she can, from here, this point onwards, little by little, understand by proxy. Now, if you pay attention to today's episode, it's pretty obvious. You can kind of predict what's going to happen with Ayame. She'll probably start liking Kyo. Like, it's pretty damn obvious. Like, like, yeah. So I do wonder, if that's the direction they're going, because I'm like 80% or 90% sure that's where they're going to take this. But let's wait and see. You know, yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's the whole thing with Ayame. I did think that what Ayame is going to do and talk to Taiki about, like, but you can see Ayame at first did kind of go very hard on Taiki, but then when she realized, when she was like, oh, like, do you have any understanding at how Hina felt? And when she looked at him and saw him, like, making that face, she realized that, oh yeah, he does. It's not that he just casually rejected her or anything. you know he understands it. And yeah, like, she couldn't say anything after that. Like, she did say a lot of things after that, but she just couldn't, like, blame him, or you could say something like that, because I was expecting her to, like, fully flip on Taiki or something. But she talked to him. She realized that, yeah, Taiki understands the weight of his own actions, what he actually did. It was not just some casual, like, oh, I don't want to go out with you kind of thing. Yeah, so after understanding that, she realized that she couldn't really say anything to Taiki. So she just told Taiki what she herself couldn't understand. As she said, that, like, how good is this person? Like, first and foremost, she's told him that, first and foremost, I had no idea that you liked someone else. That's number one. Number two, as she said, that I don't understand how good is this person that you had to reject someone like Hina. So, but yeah, I guess, you couldn't really understand that unless and until you are on, like, you're in Taiki's shoes. you know okay. Now, another good thing that came out of today's episode is that, I was saying this in the previous episode. I literally said this at the beginning of today's episode as well. That is, I said that I hope, like, now that Taiki has told Hina that I cannot properly and, like wholeheartedly, sincerely pursue my relationship, my feelings for Chinatsu because of this whole thing, and I'm also hurting you in that process. I'll have to reject you. I said that I do hope he just doesn't sit down and just, again, just become a passive person, just letting everything happen on its own, not taking any active action for his feelings for Chinatsu. But today's episode, we saw he has actually started taking action, which I'm happy about. Like I said, or, like, in this section, there was that section, that section where you saw Haru playing the match with him, where I think that section is the part where Saki probably realized that, like, where is that part? There was this particular set of, like, dialogue that they had in that section, like Haru and Taiki, which showed that, where is it? Wait a minute. Oh, here it is. Okay. Being scared to lose, these set of dialogues, just think, like, just listen to it. Having your fragile sense of pride stomped on. You gotta take that all in, grit your teeth, swallow it down, and crawl forward. That's what I think true strength is. Now, you can apply the same thing in his situation with Chinatsu. Obviously, he's talking about badminton, like, I know that. But you can apply this whole conversation in his situation with Chinatsu as well. Basically saying that, not just staying there, not doing anything, but knowing that I might lose something from this, but still doing it. That is what true strength is. And I don't know. I feel like this set of dialogue was the reason why Taiki immediately after that decided to ask Chinatsu out, and he was like, "Oh, like, should we go out next holiday or something?" And Chinatsu was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And they made that whole plan. So, I'm at least glad of that fact, that because, at least he's doing something. Like I said, if after rejecting Hina, he just sat down on his ass, just doing nothing again, just waiting for Chinatsu to go to nationals or something, I would have been pissed. I would have been like, yeah, man, you are not worth it. but he didn't. So that is good, and I'm glad that he's actually taking action, because otherwise, what was the whole damn? What was the point? Like, of all of that in the previous episode. So yeah, that is good. Now we don't have to wait for 5 seasons at least, I guess, for him to confess. Because there are certain few shows that, oh boy, takes it that far. Absolutely annoying. But yeah. Anyways, that was that. So that's a good thing that came out of this. Another good thing that came out of today's episode is, like I said, uh, Hari was able to gather courage to go against Taiki again, because as he said that he lost against Hyodo first, then he lost against Yusa, and now he was like, if I lose against you, I don't know where I will be. So he was afraid, but now finally he gathered the courage. As he said, he gathered the courage, he grit his teeth and went forward. That is what true courage and true strength is. And he was able to win against Taiki. So, there you go. So now he has gained his confidence back. And like he said, I'm glad I played with you, because if I kept running away from you, this would have eaten me continuously. And I wouldn't be able to properly concentrate on everything. Yeah, so that's another good thing that came out of today's episode. What else? Yeah, I think that's it. That is today's episode. So, there you go. You know what? I have to say this. I'm so glad that Ayame actually was introduced in this show, because, like I said, there was always one thing that I kind of thought, is that I thought that after Hina gets rejected, I thought that it'll be so sad, because I don't know, like she literally has no one that she can confide in this whole thing. Yeah, she did have, I guess you could say she did have her friend. What's her name? Natsu, or was it Nagisa? I kind of mix up the two names. One of the friends is Chinatsu's friend. I think her name was Nagisa, right? Hina's friend is Natsu, I think. She does have her, but we don't really see her much. But someone who can be like as close to her as we saw, like Ayame went to her. I'm just glad that after the rejection, or during the rejection, she at least has someone like that who she could, I don't know, be free with, or be herself with. Because it helps, it helps. Right. Okay. And there you go. That was today's episode. Alright, and that was that. Now, I don't think there's anything else to talk about here. In the end, we see Taiki, like go to the place where they're supposed to meet, and Chinatsu's there, all that stuff. Okay, now before I go to the scene by scene discussion, I'll talk about this show as a whole. This show, when I started it, obviously I had no idea what this. I was like, okay, so this is like a sports slash slice of life rom-com show maybe. But yeah, this, after watching like the first season of it, you can say that it has sports elements to it, obviously, but it is more towards the love, like the romance, the drama, that type of thing it focuses on more. The sports is like something that is kind of attached along with it, so that's quite good, because I don't really like sports shows, except a few exceptions. I guess there are a few. No, not really, there aren't really any exceptions. I generally don't like sports shows at all, like be it any type of sports, like like football, like baseball, badminton, basketball, all that, any volleyball, anything, sports related. I'm not that much of a big fan of it. But the fact that they just focus more on romance and drama aspect of it, it's something that I appreciate. And it does have sports in it, but it's like minimal amount, which even someone like me who doesn't really watch that many sports show, can enjoy. Like there are like 1 or 2 episodes where they completely focus on sport, like that whole episode with Yusa and him. That was pretty fun. That was pretty fun seeing a full episode dedicated like that. So it has a good balance, at least for my tastes. A lot of people probably like sports more, so they might be disappointed at the fact that, oh, there's not much sports. But at least for me, I appreciate this type. I mean, because I don't watch that many sports, and I don't really like watching sports anime that much. So I appreciate that. um, a few other things is, I have to say that I heard so many people singing praises of this show, so I had quite high expectations. However, the first half, you could say, of this show was pretty slow, so I was wondering, like, okay, why does everyone praise it so much? When, like, like, it's pretty normal, right? Like, I've seen so many shows like this. Second half onwards, that is, I think, like episode 13 onwards or something, probably from the section where Hina confessed to him, it starts picking up. And I have to say, from that point onwards, there were a few episodes which I was very impressed with, especially the episodes where they focused more on figuring out what Taiki feels in his heart, what his feelings are about Chinasu and Hina. Those sections, these, I don't know, like, intimate, intricate moments of just like the characters understanding more about themselves and what they feel for a certain person. Hina's, like, sections, Taiki's sections, all of these sections were just so well done that I can now understand why so many people praise this as one of the best romance shows. I probably wouldn't put it on the top spot still, because I do know there's a lot of people who say that, oh, this is the best romance show. I wouldn't do that, because there's one show that I don't think, at least to me, nobody will be able to topple that for now, which is Dangers in My Heart. I don't think Dangers in My Heart is pretty damn high on my ranking. I doubt Aono Hako could ever topple that. But I would say Aono Hako is probably on the top, in the top three. You could probably say, in my rankings. Yeah, so I can now pretty much understand why a lot of people say a lot of good things about the romance of this show, because it is very, I don't know what to call it, deep, maybe. Maybe that's the word. It's very deep. No, like a lot of thought has gone into it, which I appreciate. And so yeah, so that is what I think about this show. It's very, it took a while, but it picked up, and when it picked up, it did its job brilliantly. So I'm looking forward to season 2. Okay, now that was what I thought about this whole season as a whole. Now let me talk about this episode scene by scene. I talked about most of the stuff, but let me just see if I missed anything. The first section, you can see, what's her name? Ayame kind of blaming herself, thinking that, oh, is it because I told her to go? That's why this happened. And I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, this would have happened either way in somewhere down the future. If it didn't happen today, it probably would have happened tomorrow. So it's not really your fault. So yeah, there you go. And I just, like I said, I just appreciated the fact that she was there with Hina at that particular moment. Otherwise, she would have been crying here alone. At least she had someone who was there with her and who tried to cheer her up with the little amount that she could do. Because you can see here, Aime was like, I have no idea what to say here. I've never, like, fallen in love with someone this deeply. Neither do I understand the pain of rejection. And since I'm obviously a person who's different than her, if I say something like, oh, it'll be fine, you'll find more people, that'll be insensitive. And obviously, it won't really work like that. So she was like, I don't know what to do. So what she did was, she just took out the tissue papers and put them in front of him and told her that, oh, there's a lot you can choose from, just take one, I guess. That was her way of, I don't know, cheering her up a little bit. So yeah, that was enough, like I said. And you can see, like seeing Hina cry made her cry as well, because like I said, it happens like proxy, like she was in a weird way, you could say that she was understanding what true love is through Hina, by watching her and watching her feelings for Taiki. It's like I said, it's how we feel stuff when we watch anime. We feel stuff on behalf of characters. It's the same thing. And since she has never experienced that herself, it was like a raw emotion that she was feeling. And now that she has been rejected, she could feel the same sadness that Hina was feeling. Obviously, not to the same degree, but a little bit of it was transmitted to her as well, because she was also understanding what true feelings is, true love is through Hina. And now that Hina has been rejected, she's also understanding what rejection is through Hina. And that kind of affected her. Okay. Anyways, that was that first section. And then we had that section with Taiki and Hina kind of avoiding each other. Not avoiding, you could say, but they're just not really, interacting. You could say Taiki goes to practice. Kyo still didn't understand what was going on, or he did kind of get a little bit of hint. Either way, Taiki's thinking of all of that and practicing, and then Haryu comes in and Haryu starts playing a game with him. After that, Kyo comes across Ayame, and Ayame is blaming herself, and then Kyo comes and talks to Ayame and tells her that, oh, I think I understand what's going on. So they talk to each other about the whole Taiki Hina situation, and right. Okay, now okay, so there's a few things that Ayame says here. So one thing that Ayame says is that having someone care about you so earnestly doesn't happen every day, and since she has no experience in any of this, she's just going to understand why Taiki rejected her. He says, I don't get it. I get it if he wasn't interested at all, but they were already friends. Why did he say no? And Kyo says that I agree with you there. Chono might get mad if she heard this, but he says, but they seemed closer when they were just friends. Well, Kyo also says that Taiki is more accustomed to chasing someone than being chased, so that is also another one of the reasons, you could say. So yeah, as he says, like, there's two different things, like being friends, being actually into someone. Those are two different things. Like, yeah, like being a friend with someone that you actually like might help a little bit, but it's not the same thing. Like you won't really have that advantage or anything. It is what it is. Right. And Kyo says, like, that's all we can say. Like when I'm like, just like that, just that easily, and he's like, that's all we can say. At the end of the day, we are outsiders. It's Taiki's life. Taiki decided what he wants to do. And yeah, there you go. Okay, so then we move on to Taiki not battling, but playing against Haryu. Haryu wins it, and this is where Haryu has a conversation with Taiki, talks to him about how he was afraid of losing to Taiki as well, and losing everything that he has worked for, like, all his confidence and everything. But he's glad that he plays against him, because it kind of made him realize that, what someone like, like what true courage is, and how even in these type of situations, if you stand up, grit your teeth, and go forward, that is what true strength is. And like I said, they didn't really like say this directly, but I feel like this was also the section, or this conversation made Taiki think about his relationship with Chinatsu, and that is why he decided later on to actually do something instead of just sitting down and just letting the flow take the reins of the whole thing. He decided to do something himself, be proactive about the situation. Okay. Anyways, then next we get to see Taiki's going back. The whole field trip is over. Hina goes on her own way. Taiki goes on his own way. When he meets Chinatsu in front of his doorway, he decides to take action and tells him to go out with him to shop for a jersey. And Chinatsu's like, okay, I'll go with you if we, after shopping for a jersey, if we go to like a cake shop or something like that, she says. There you go. That is that. Right. Now next we have Hina walking alone, and like I said, I'm glad that Ayame is here, because Ayame came and Ayame is like, oh, let's go have some fun, and they go to the arcade place, and first they do a little bit of pictures, the Purikura's booths, yeah. Then they play air hockey, a few other stuff, crane games and other stuff. And this is where Ayame comes across these guys, and one of those guys was just like saying stuff, which Ayame didn't really like. And this is where Hina says that, okay, here's the part. When he was saying like, oh, why don't you learn from your sister? Be more considerate. And Hina says like, you have to blame it on her so that you can feel better about yourself, right? And she says like, yeah, I can understand. Like, you got rejected and you feel like all that you have done for her and all that you went through is useless now. So to protect yourself, you are just shifting the blame to the other person. It's easier like that. And while saying that, she herself starts crying because she remembers herself, her own situation. And then Ayame just takes her out of there. Yeah. Later on, next day, Ayame bumps into Taiki deliberately, and Ayame's like, "Oh, come to the gym. I have, like, help me out." Obviously, she wanted to talk to him, so she goes there and tells Taiki, like, that I've heard the whole thing with Hina. How could you do that? Like, don't you understand how she felt? And as soon as she said that, she looked at Taiki and realized that, oh no, he understands. And that is when she completely changed her, like, line of questioning. She then starts talking about, like, she says that I don't understand why. Like, yeah, this part. This is where she says, like, like, where's that part? I still can't understand why you would reject a girl like Hinachi. Is the girl you like really that amazing? Right. Anyways, and yeah, obviously you cannot really say that because you have to be in tight issues for that. But she's saying this because obviously this is her first like encounter, or her first understanding what true love is through someone else, and that is why she's like she's being like completely on her side. Like, it's understandable because unless and until you understand the feeling yourself, you won't be able to understand why Taiki did that. And since she's learning it, like, that feeling via proxy from Hina, she's completely on Hina's side in a weird way, you could say. So that's the basically that's the thing. But like I said, I'm glad that there's someone like this now, because like, I feel like it's just easy to just focus on Taiki and Chinatsu, but Hina, who went through all of this, like, having someone like Ayame will at least help her out a little bit in the process of, I don't know, getting over her feelings, you could say, or like, recovering, you could say. Yeah. Either way, that was that. Next, we have Ayame talk to Kyo, and I think okay. She says like, oh, I understand what you're thinking. You must be thinking like, why am I doing all of this? Like, I'm an outsider. She says like, yeah, I might be an outsider just looking in, but I saw how she was, and it made me want to know why. I'm going to say what I feel. She does the whole, like, like, she flips. Oh, she flips him off and says that that's just who I am. Got that? I don't care who I'm saying it to. They can interpret it however they want. Right. And yeah, and Kyo says that I do think there's some part of Chono you managed to save. It might be nice to have someone like that now. Like I said, yeah, like Kyo says that it might, like, like, it's good that he has someone like you who is able to be wholeheartedly like allied with her in this situation, because obviously nobody else can do that here. So Hina would have been all alone otherwise. Yeah, so there you go. Like I said, I feel like in the future there's a possibility that what's her name? Ayame actually might start liking Kyo. That's the direction this is probably going, I feel like. But yeah, I guess we'll have to wait. Anyways, that was that. And then Hina's there with the little mascot, like, mask. And she lays down. Obviously, she couldn't show her face. She was crying. That's why she was wearing that thing. Okay. Later on, we see Taiki is getting ready. He goes out to meet with Chinatsu, and he meets Chinatsu in front of the place that they were supposed to meet. And that's where it ended. So there you go. That was episode number 25 of Aono Hako. Really good episode. And like I said, I'm glad that Taiki's actually being more proactive. And there's one more thing that I want, which hopefully by the next season we get, resolved with that, which is basically, Hina and Taiki's awkwardness. Hopefully it subsides eventually down the line, and they become good friends again. I just hope that. I think it'll take time, but yeah. Alright, and that was today's episode. The final episode of this season. Thanks for watching. This was my reaction to episode 25. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel or you haven't subscribed. Comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. That is it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next in the next batch of anime, the new animes that I'll start reacting to. See you guys then. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.